Welcome to the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. I am award-nominated Jackman Oaks.
And I am a water pistol that shoots jelly, Brian Hines.
Today we are getting into all of the action from Ohio Valley Wrestling Television number 1270, emanating live, of course, from the historic Davis Arena, filmed on December 14th, 2023. As I mentioned at in my intro, we are award-nominated.
That is true.
Not just me, you too. You as well. All of us
Yes.
here at the OVW podcast.
Yeah, we were nominated for a comedy radio podcast award in Louisville.
So we were nominated for Best Show
Best show.
from the Comedy Attack people whose award is called the Carnies.
The Carnies.
Okay, so...
That's a lot, I know, but that's how it... That's
But
what
it is
No,
not,
that's
because
okay.
I think at first we were confused that we got nominated somehow for a comedy award. But it is the organization that puts it on is called Comedy Attack.
Yes, and one of their categories is Best Show.
I like the idea of militant comedy. I support this.
I just assumed that they didn't have a sports category.
It may be that too.
And then they just put us in the comedy thing.
I hadn't thought about it, but I'm just happy to be here. I wasn't expecting to be nominated for anything, really, to be perfectly honest.
Do you think that we're going to get nominated for a political category eventually if I keep talking about how the Undertaker's in a Proud Boys chapter?
Oh, God, I hope not.
Yeah, me and you and the Trillbilly Workers Party podcast nominated for best regional podcasting comedy whatever award thing.
The views of Jackman Oaks do not reflect the views of Brian Hines, Brian Woodard, or Malachi Woodard, who also are part of this podcast. I'm just kidding.
At least not on tape. No, seriously. It really is. I don't want to take that too lightly to be nominated for something like that. Us being so early on in this thing, it's nice to know that people listen to this. It's nice to know that people who have, long-standing opinions on broadcasting and podcasting and stuff like that think that we're doing a good job, and we're really excited to attend the Carney Awards in the middle of January.
Oh, extremely excited. I can't wait.
There's a couple of interviews that have gone up, and then other ones that you should be looking forward to on this very feed. Our interview with Cal Hero went up most recently.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Went back and re-listened to that. Really great kid, great guy. There's so much that we didn't even get to that I had wanted to ask him about, but I think we got a lot out of him. Really, really happy with what we got.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It seems like every time we do one of these interviews, I walk into it and there's 1,000,001 things I want to ask about. And before you know it, you blink, it's over. And even though you didn't get to ask all the questions that you wanted, you got so much more information that you didn't know to ask or even think about. And this was one of those times. And we appreciate you, Cal Hero. Thank you so very much for coming to spend time with us.
What it is that these wrestlers are all much more interesting than the questions that we could have even thought of.
Yeah, that's
what
that's
it really
true.
comes down to.
It really is, yeah.
Up next, there will be an interview with Dream Girl Ellie.
Oh, that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. That was a really
great.
fun day around here at the podcast studio. So that interview will be on your feed soon. Different side of Ellie, I think, than what we've seen on TV.
Oh, yeah, very.
Definitely. But a really, really great interview with her. She was a lot of fun to have by and gave us a lot as well.
Yes.
Up next, we will cover all of the action, break it down fight by fight, minute by minute from Ohio Valley Television number 1270 right after this.
Hey folks, Tiny Brian here with you once again, talking about a little thing called Bluegrass Homefront, folks. Bluegrass Homefront coming back. Hey Brian, your mic's still live. We're hearing that crunch.
Oh?
Yeah.
I'm
hearing
tasting that
commercial.
crunch. That
Okay.
ice was plain flavored, but it was delicious.
Water flavored.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bluegrass Homefront coming back in first part of the year. Kentucky Music and Stories, maybe a live show. There could be all kinds of stuff. BluegrassHomefront.com. Check out all the episodes. All kinds of cool stuff and more to come soon. Until then, back to the OVW podcast.
Welcome back to the OVW podcast. I'm still Jackman Oaks.
And I'm still Brian Hines.
There's actually something really quick before we jump into this that I wanted to do during the housekeeping segment of our show.
I think I know where you're going with this.
We got an email from a gentleman over the past weekend.
Yes.
Dakota Stoltz, Mr. Stoltz, if you're listening. we have it under good authority from you yourself that you might be a fan of the show, and it meant a lot to us to receive your message. But I don't want to speak for Brian, but I will speak for myself. I really have a hard time with compliments, and I have a really hard time thinking that people like me. So I would like to read your message, Dakota, but unfortunately, because I have confidence issues, I'm going to have to read it in the voice of Macho Man Randy Savage.
Rightly so.
I love the OVW podcast. I've been a listener since day one. Jackman's rants are always exactly what I'm thinking, but with less profanity. Oh, yeah. B. Hines. Such a great voice. Open personality. I'm a retired veteran who has trouble sleeping at night. Oh, yeah. And every time I turn this podcast on, it gives me an escape, even though I've already listened to the episode as soon as it dropped. Now, talk about food for no reason and take my money. Also, he wants to congratulate us for getting nominated, and he's looking forward to next season of Bluegrass Homefront. Dakota, seriously, thank you so much, man.
That was an incredibly kind email that we received, and I'm with Jackman. It's difficult for me to take compliments sometimes, or sometimes think that people like you or appreciate what it is that we're doing, and to get something super heartfelt like that from you, Dakota, and to know that we are part of your daily routine, especially a wind down routine. It just really means the world to us, and we just wanted to take a minute and say thank you during this episode while we had a chance.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Yes.
Obviously, and it's great to be nominated for the Carney Award, but I would rather have one email like this than win 10 of those. 10 of 10
Hands
and
down.
10 award of any magnitude.
Hands down.
So thank you.
And speaking of carnies, what's your favorite carnival food? Because mine is fried cheese on a stick.
It depends on the level of the carnival.
Okay, that's fair.
There's been a thing that's come out recently, kind of caught fire over the last 10 or 15 years or so. Big fan of the deep fried Oreos.
Okay.
Like to branch out, get deep fried Snickers, all kinds, basically. And then, the carnival up here in Lexington, it not only has all the typical old school carnival food, but there's a lot of great authentic Mexican food too there.
Oh.
Yeah, so kind of all the best of everything that you could get. I mean, honestly, if it's at a carnival, I'm going to throw it up anyway, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
They don't call it the tilt-a-hurl for nothing, kids.
All right. Ragnar the Ruthless, Blanco Loco.
It was a relatively quick match. Ragnar the Ruthless, Blanco Loco. Ragnar looked good.
Second week in a row where Ragnar the Ruthless was first match of the night, right?
Yes, I've noticed that, and I'm glad to see him getting some screen time. I am a big fan of Finland in general and the Finnish people, and I'm glad to see Ragnar representing them on the show this week and last. But this wasn't about Ragnar. This was about Blanco Loco, and all I got to say is it is about damn time.
What is about damn time?
Well, I mean, even though we've kind of like poked fun at him because of his name, because we've referred to him as Queso Blanco, and to me the name's just kind of cheesy, Waka Waka.
I agree.
But
I agree.
You could tell by watching him that there was something more in there than just a character named Blanco Loco, and we finally get to see that. He ends the match, grabs the mic, and declares Blanco Loco dead, and from now on he is going as Orion. New ring gear, new aggression, new attitude, new name. Love it.
Couldn't agree with you more. This was maybe not the perfect time, maybe 2 or 3 weeks past the perfect time for the name change, but this kind of solidifies the new artist formerly known as Blanco Loco.
Yes.
This name change.
Yes.
Totally different wrestler than he was, when I first saw him in OVW a year or 2 years ago. No mask anymore, is a lot more technical, a lot more harder strikes. Used to be kind of a high flyer. You still see a lot of that.
Sure.
But I really do think that this name change, it puts everything that he's done to change himself as a wrestler in a perspective. It was time for Blanco Loco to go.
Yeah. And with that being said...
And he did specifically tie it to the mask that he apparently used to wear.
Right.
Good.
That
Cast off the mask and follow the gourd.
Yeah, he died. And he said Blanco Loco died as soon as I lost my mask at some point. So
Yes, he did, and that's good. And I would suspect that this change in offensive tactics has to do with Malachi Black and sitting under that learning tree. And on a personal note, I would just like to say that I love the new name Orion because one, it is an awesome song by Metallica. If you haven't heard it, you should check it out. And two, this makes me wonder, the thing that Orion the Constellation is known most for is anybody? No?
Men in Black 1.
That wasn't what I was going for. What about you, Tiny Brian?
I'm going to go with his shoes.
You're closer than Jackman, but not quite. Correct. Malachi. Orion is most known for its belt. So I wonder if this new aggressive attitude would lead to a Rush Division belt sometime in the near future. Time will tell. It always does.
That's not a bad guess. He's definitely he's coming into OVW with something to prove at this point.
And he's proving it.
We, after the conclusion of that match, see our first sketch of the evening. It is the Bad Girls Club with their newest member, as we predicted.
So this was also the sketch that was muted. So we have no idea what they actually talked about. I assume it was things related to her wardrobe because that would come up again later in the evening. But sorry, I don't have any notes about what that sketch was about because I didn't know.
Yeah, there was no audio when this originally aired, and I mean, if I would have taken that into consideration before we did the podcast, we could have done like a puppet theater to reenact what they had possibly said or didn't say. But here we are in the middle of a live broadcast, so we will move forward with the next part of the evening, which was OVW Heavyweight Champion, the newly crowned OVW Heavyweight Champion, Tony Gunn, celebrating his win over Jack Vaughn last week. And not only that, he talks a little bit about what Enzo said after the match, and you can tell that there's going to be some friction between the two moving forward. But that wasn't the biggest part of why he came to the ring.
I do want to say this. Get Enzo back there as quickly as you possibly can.
Oh?
Yes. Bring Enzo in. Bring him back in. Let's start that fire. I want to see Tony Gunn and Enzo. I'm here for it. Get Enzo back as soon as you possibly can.
Okay. Well, it sounds like he's certainly on his way back. He already was in there once, and they left it hanging with the tension in the ring and saying things that we weren't able to hear on mic after that match. But I was referring to the fact that the new champion has a baby gun on the way.
Yeah, I really loved the commentary team only referring to the baby as Baby Gun.
Baby gun.
The crowd even chanted,
Baby gun. Baby gun. So congratulations, Tony, on the birth of your child, and we cannot wish you any more happiness than we do right now. So congratulations.
Well, the veteran Jack Vaughn didn't come out to congratulate him at all.
Well, no, but, that's not really his thing in general. And even if there is a baby on the way, I can't see him rushing out to hand out cigars or go patting people on the back after they took his title the previous week.
What did he say, that Tony Gunn couldn't have a son because only real men can have sons?
Something to that effect.
Or real professional wrestlers, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay, then.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. Jack Vaughn, I don't know if he's super popular with the ladies. I'm gonna say there might be a little bit of resentment that Tony Gunn has gotten to a place that maybe Jack Vaughn hasn't gotten to in a long time.
Hey, you better watch it, because if I'm not mistaken, you still owe Jack Vaughn $5.
I do still owe Jack Vaughn $5. He's gonna pick me up by my ankles and shake it out of me next time.
Yeah. That mustache is gonna knock the crap out of you, dude. Seriously.
Al Snow comes out before these two men can take care of each other the old-fashioned way and says, well, since we are wrestlers, you are going to have a wrestling match.
And it will be a ladder match. Dun, dun, dun.
That was the ladder match, of course, that was one of the matches at Christmas Chaos that we will be covering in this feed within the next couple of days.
Yes, that's right. I saw what happened. It was good.
It was a really good match.
Spoilers.
No spoilers.
Leila Gray, Dream Girl Ellie come out. They have a match against Titi and Freya. Tiffany Nieves, the OVW Women's Heavyweight Champion, joins the commentary team for this match. Titi and Freya end up winning by disqualification.
That they do.
Because the Bad Girls Club cheated to win.
That's how it usually goes. Yes.
Yeah, I assumed so.
They aren't the Honorable Girls Club. They are the Bad Girls Club, and that is for a reason.
Next match kind of was like a weird place for me. This is like I would have rather had Will Austin come out and maybe just like cut a promo. I think here
that would have been a good promo.
Yeah, I don't dislike Ty Vance. Like I think he's a little green on the vine. He's got a lot going on. He needs to figure out which one of his 10 gimmicks is gonna be the one he develops. But he's not a bad wrestler for what it's worth.
No, not at all.
He's just a little, at this point, just
still
throwing
throwing
shit at the
out.
wall. Yeah, throwing shit at the wall. The Uncut Gem, Ty Vance.
That's okay, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You'll get there.
Will Austin, of course, picks up the victory over him. That puts Blanco Loco winning his match ahead of Christmas Chaos. That puts Will Austin...
Orion.
That puts Orion winning his match against... ahead of Christmas Chaos. That gets Will Austin, the future Will Austin, winning his match ahead of Christmas Chaos. These two, of course, will collide at Christmas Chaos, and we will cover that later on in this feed.
Orion sounds kind of Irish, if you say it fast enough.
I want to say that Stevie J made a joke about that, and it was just as bad as your joke was.
Nice work. Great minds, something, right, kids?
So, our one main event, where it's a best of 3. We're at 1-1 between the Overmen and the Golden fucking Lions. What's that? Mahabali, Shera, and Cash Flow.
That's right.
That's who they are.
We should have gotten a conclusion to this evening. We should have probably been done with this already.
But you knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I knew it. Trust me.
We talked about it last week. We kind of felt like it was going to be a Three's Company kind of ending where there's some sort of mishap and it's not going to be a clear-cut winner, one side or the other. And lo and behold, here we are.
Daniel Spencer ends up throwing the match out. This leads to a Texas Tornado tag match at Christmas Chaos between the Overmen, Beaches and Cream, who were the current champions, and the Golden Lions, Mahabali, Shera, and Cash Flow.
It sure does. And what a good match it was. Probably the biggest pop of the night at Christmas Chaos. For no spoiled specific reason whatsoever.
It was
every match had big pops. They were all the biggest
Unfortunately,
pops.
It was the biggest pop of the night. No spoilers, but you know how I feel. You can guess who. You can guess who won by my reaction to it.
Everybody popped. Every single person at the pay-per-view
popped a fucking pimple.
They were all pop rocks.
I got a lot to say. That'll be in the feed later. The poster boy. Match 1, hour 2, right? Bout 5 of the night. Poster boy Jason Hendrix versus Ryan Von Rockit with Crystal and Katie, the Von Rockits.
That's right.
So this manager guy, I had questions.
Mm-hmm.
Blue suited Aaron, the Idol Stevenson. Apparently, he manages the tag team NWA Tag Team Champions currently.
He is the former Damian Sandow, correct?
That's who that was. I knew he looked familiar.
When we interviewed TW3, the 80s Baby, you can find that on this feed. He mentioned that
that's right.
That him coming backstage was one of the more surreal moments that he had experienced in OVW. Just like a really, really, experienced, smart wrestling mind to have around backstage at OVW. He's very highly respected back there and in the NWA and in wrestling in general. I've never heard anybody say a bad word about the man.
Well, he played I loved when he came out. He immediately tipped the broadcast team. I found that to be hilarious.
He tipped them like he gave them a 20?
Yeah, if you watch the show, he slipped them money as he came out to the stage. And he stood there at the top of the ramp kind of watching the proceedings, and it was just fascinating, and I love these sort of interpromotional things when they happen. So.
Well, Mr. Stevenson, if you're into handing out tips to broadcast teams, I can think of a couple of fellas right here who would be happy to accept.
It's Christmas time after all. Open them pockets.
I'm non-denominational, but I'm pretty attached to 50s and 100s, by the way.
Do you think that Stevenson's kind of association or kind of this conversation he has after the end of the match with Ryan Von Rockit, do you think that that's kind of, now that we've seen Crystal and Katie have other stuff to do, Ryan Von Rocket's got this other guy coming in, schmoozing him up. Do you think that we're about to see kind of the split of that?
Yeah.
I do too.
Now that we're actually talking about it, yeah, it seems like this is the part where the saucer section separates from the rest of the ship and the two go their separate ways. The Rockets going in their own direction, and Ryan Von Rockit seemingly to be paired up in the future with Aaron the Idol Stevenson.
Who I don't think wrestles at all anymore, but is just like he has so much clout that having him on camera automatically, he's an asset no matter what, even if he's not in the ring. The guy's an asset.
Yeah.
So do we think that this means Ryan Von Rocket's going to end up on NWA TV, or that this guy's going to start managing Von Rockit on OVW TV?
Yes.
Both.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really surprised that Ryan Howe's not on NWA as it stands, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I agree with him.
We also had a announcement.
A huge surprise announcement.
And something that I'm not exactly surprised. Well, I'm surprised that it happened. Mick Foley has done OVW stuff in the past, not only with WWE, but after Al's taken it over, they, of course, have a really close relationship.
Oh, sure.
So in that way, not surprised, but did not expect Mick Foley to appear on OVW television, albeit not in person. Definitely didn't expect him to suggest, I might be here for a while in the coming months.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just flat out saying I will be at the Nightmare just to observe, but he didn't say what he was observing.
And he's on the poster. The poster was released today, and he's on it.
Oh, yeah.
On the right front rock.
He sure is.
Bang, bang.
Have a nice day.
And I do have a story about this that we'll tell at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah.
I have a personal story about Mick.
I'm aware of the story, and there were spoilers that happened while the rest of us were watching this week's episode of
I was
OVW.
watching live. What do you want?
I know you were watching live, but some of us had other things to do and tried to tune in as soon as we could, and we even talked about not having any spoilers, and then spoilers.
All right, boys. All we know for right now is that Mick Foley will be at the Nightmare Rumble in
Which
January.
is January 6th,
That's
the first Saturday in January.
Is that the first event back, or is that just the first pay-per-view back?
No,
first pay-per-view.
First pay-per-view. They'll be back on the 4th for their regular OVW.
So that first Thursday will set up what we see on
They're
the
kicking
Saturday
off
night.
live wrestling in 2024 on my birthday. Coincidence? I think
Definitely.
not.
So incidentally, OVW TV next week will be apparently sort of a clip show regarding current storylines.
Mm-hmm.
I get that from sources inside in OVW.
Oh, sure.
So we probably won't cover that, but we're going to have all kinds of cool things to talk about holiday related
Oh,
over the
yeah.
last couple weeks of the year. So
think
we won't be hurting for content.
We've got a couple of things that we're really excited to bring that are different than anything we've done before, but I think you will enjoy them. We will enjoy doing them.
If you're only listening to us, you obviously can't see what the studio looks like.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. We are on camera today.
But yes, we are on camera, so you will be able to see this on YouTube and probably other outlets like Facebook and Instagram and things like that. But we have the studio decorated for Christmas, and it's just about as festive as I can make it, at least for now, but I'm sure I'll find a way to turn it up to 11 before we get to the actual day itself. But there you go. We are all decked out and ready for Christmas, and I can't wait to see what Santa brings us.
And
I hope it snows.
While we're talking about, yes, I hope it snows. While we're talking about things that you can come to expect over OVW's hiatus on this feed. Probably our biggest interview to date. We will be recording tomorrow.
As far as you know.
And we had our first snow of the season in Lexington today.
We sure did.
We're hoping
really
it sticks.
excited.
We're hoping it sticks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so they'll call school off tomorrow? Y'all hoping you don't have to go to class?
I just want, like, snow, man.
I already called in.
Oh.
Shalonce Royale, PJ Jones versus Harley Jane. Shalonce Royale wins. PJ Jones is a hack. We know this.
He still owes me $2.
Harley Jane.
Harley Jane is the Hollywood Haley J we have at home, right?
This is kind of the same thing I said about Ty Vance earlier. She's a little young in the world. She's a little green on the vine.
She's a little duplicating of Hollywood Haley J.
Hollywood Haley J is the most over person on the entire roster.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're stealing, steal from the best. And I'm not even saying she's stealing. I'm just saying she's a little green on the vine, young in the world, figuring out this whole wrestling thing.
As people tend to do. But either way, it was a win for Shalonce this time around. I'm sure that we will be seeing more of her in the future, as well as Harley Jane. But next up on the show, we check in with the Bad Girls again, who are trying to change Ellie's look, and they want her to look more like them and dress like them, and apparently she doesn't wear enough makeup, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
for them anyway.
She does kind of stick out from this group.
She does.
It was an interesting choice for them to try to
assimilate her.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, I can kind of see that, but
recruit, I guess.
On the other hand, getting the primal scream in person and seeing her come off with submission hold after submission hold week after week, I can see why they actively recruited her, because she would make a perfect addition to the Bad Girls Club.
Well, and she can do something that either the Bad Girls Club chooses not to do or can't do, which is wrestle.
Wow.
I didn't no, and I didn't mean that as a negative. I think all of those girls are very talented wrestlers, but they don't win through wrestling. They cheat.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
No.
I see.
Yeah. Trust me. If I would have thrown a way more heavy live round if I was going after those girls, but I have no reason to. I really do think, as we touched on in the past, that Ellie, for them, it's better for her to be on their side, because they're not ever going to be able to beat her in an actual. They can cheat all they want. Dream Girl Ellie's still probably going to beat them.
Yeah, I don't think there's any probably about it. She's twice the wrestler of both of them put together, as far as like her advanced skill set studying under the learning tree of Malachi Black.
Well, and then also, if I was really going to talk about people who couldn't wrestle, I would talk about Deget Bundlez. He was in our next match against Shane Mercer, the Iron Demon.
Iron Demon comes out on top on this one, but don't sell to get Bundlez short. And Buns, if you're listening, call me. We'll talk about Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Was Joe Cooley playing Santa all night in here?
No, not all night.
Not all night, but
just backstage.
Just backstage, yeah.
Was he, when you guys side note, when you guys attended the pay-per-view, was he still doing his usual corralling of the people into the chair?
He was working his full-time position, as well as doing Santa
backstage
as well.
They'd done some pre-records with him, but towards the end of the evening of the pay-per-view, he did don him now his gay apparel and actually appear as Santa Claus.
Fa la 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 la. La, la, la.
So Santa is on the phone with the Von Rockits. He informs them that their presents have been stolen. These would be the presents that Ellie stole as we returned from commercial break.
Yes.
Just a few prior to the Deget Bundlez match, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with the Bad Girls prompting, hey, don't you want to be cool? Come on. It's classic peer pressure.
Oh, yeah.
And
all the cool kids are doing it.
Santa ends up granting their wish, which is a match against the Bad Girls Club.
Yeah. Whatever it was
at
that
Christmas Chaos.
whatever presents they lost, Santa wasn't able to replace them. However, he gave them the next best thing, or perhaps even better, which was a chance at payback at Christmas Chaos.
And boy, do I have opinions about that. That thing, we will cover that in long form on this feed, because there's a lot to talk about in that match.
Yeah,
Several
that's
steamer trunks to unpack.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate thing altogether.
There's a part of me that really feels like that match might have set the OVW women's division back 15 years. Stick around for my full-fledged opinion on it in this feed in the next couple of days. Before the match, next match, which was between Superior Tony Evans and the 80s baby TW3, the Midwest ace himself, Tony Evans and Jay De Niro come to the ring, and we find out that Jay De Niro is banned from OVW. Manny Domingo should have been accompanying Star Rider to the ring at Christmas Chaos, but unfortunately Manny Domingo was not mentioned. So I would assume that really hard hit that he took after Jay De Niro put him through the table might have been a little bit more serious than just a storyline table shot.
Yeah, and if that is the case, we certainly hope for the best for Manny Domingo and a speedy recovery.
Absolutely. Who ends up winning this match, the Superior Tony Evans and TW3 match?
It never really gets going.
Because Star Rider appears to attack Jay De Niro.
Yeah, as soon as TW3 gets announced, Star Rider is out there and going after first Jay and then Tony, and just probably would have beat up the cameraman if they'd held still.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, he was fired up because they hurt his friend. Then why not? I don't blame him.
We're gonna end here, or I guess the final match of the evening.
Yes, this is to decide the stipulation for the headlining match at Christmas Chaos, which the match was the Overmen, Adam Revolver, the Human Thumb, and EC3, accompanied by Shannon the Dude, versus Cal Hero and Mr. Pectacular, Jesse Godderz.
Cal Hero's match with Adam Revolver, the stipulation for that had already been determined several weeks prior to this.
Yes.
It's an ambulance match, of course. Jesse Godderz and Cal Hero end up beating EC3 and Adam Revolver, and Jesse Godderz chooses a Chained Carnage match as his stipulation.
Yes, Chained Carnage.
So, before we get into that, I thought that Cal and Jesse worked real well together, considering neither one of them are really tag performers, and they've never really worked together that I know of.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Cal was Team OVW versus the faction that was led by Jesse Godderz. It wasn't that long ago. These guys did not like each other, had nothing to do with each other.
That's true.
So it is surprising, especially how well Adam Revolver and EC3 know each other, how much time they've spent around each other. It is a little surprising how well Cal Hero and Jesse Godderz were able to gel together.
Yeah, and took care of things rather handily, I might add.
So the Chain Chaos match, I'm led to believe this is the second ever Chained Chaos match in OVW history. That's at least what the commentary team kept putting over.
Right, yeah.
The stipulation is just they replaced the ring ropes with chains.
They just
and it's no DQ.
Yeah, and then for some reason the championship was not on the line. So, well, we get into that.
We've got
yes. That is another story for another time.
For as good of a pay-per-view as it actually was in the mat, there were some things that I was kind of left a little dumbfounded by that happened throughout the course of the night, and we'll get into that. When the time comes in this very feed.
So before we close this out here, I do want to pop in and tell a little story.
I'm curious as to hear about this, so won't you join us for story time with producer Tiny Brian?
Hey, boys and girls, let me tell you a little story about last Thursday, the 14th of December, 2023. I, as I often am, was on the internet, looking at things and looking at videos, and I specifically saw a video from the hardcore legend, Mick Foley. And Mick Foley says, George Santos has more cameo people than I do, so I have a sale on my cameos. So buy a cameo. And I thought, well, the hardcore legend is, he doesn't ask a lot of me. Doesn't usually come with requests, so why not? So I went to Cameo. It was very inexpensive. So I had him do just a little thing, or at least I asked him to do it.
A video.
Yeah, a little video.
On our behalf.
Yeah, we'll play it for you in a moment. I'll try to hold it up to the mic and play
shall.
it for you. But when I got this is what's interesting to me, because as you guys mentioned when you were breaking down the episode, Mick Foley showed up on the broadcast with a TikTok.
He did.
A very well lit TikTok.
Very well lit, very, very nicely done.
A very nicely done TikTok,
Yes.
or just a video appearance, unlike some other people.
So about 3 minutes after that happened in real time, because as we mentioned during the thing, I was watching in real time. I was watching live. My phone goes off and it's like, you've received a cameo. So let me just play this cameo for you. I'm gonna hold my phone up here and hope this works.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and you are listening to the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. Oh, I've been keeping my eye on OVW, watched every episode of the Netflix series, and just might be, heading your way to the Davis Arena. Stay tuned, and have a nice day.
So, yeah, I feel like I feel like I solved a mystery. It's like somehow because,
If you had just sent it the day before, we could have said that we were
could
real
have broke it.
journalists.
Yeah.
well, he held it until after it had been on the I think he literally held it back until it had been on the show.
And it's very obvious. I'm sure we'll get the video out on Instagram or something.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah,
but
you betcha.
It's
just
very
wanted to
obvious when we watched the Cameo video that the video he filmed for us for Cameo and the video he filmed for OVW were done
Same day.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yes.
Without getting all the broodery about it. It was very clear. I think you're right. I think that this Cameo intentionally was not sent until the bit aired.
Yeah, they didn't want to spoil it,
Yeah,
which is
'cause-
fine. I wouldn't have wanted to
No,
spoil
no,
it
no,
either.
absolutely.
Talk about your oddly specific timing. I mean, you had no idea that was going
No,
to happen.
and-
It was just one of those things where you were in the right place at the right time.
And it's not like I want a bunch of, WWE and AEW, all those, they're fine. They're great.
Yeah,
they're
sure.
lovely. I'm not really looking to put their voices and their people, even their legends, on our air. But I thought, well, it's Mick
But we ain't
Foley.
turning them down either.
We ain't turning them down either.
That's right.
And so, it's like, fine, I'll pay Mick Foley for a little liner, and you'll hear it in our start of our episodes, kind of just going into rotation now. But
Thank you
do
very
that-
much, Mick Foley, by
Thank
the
you.
way.
Yes, thank you very much,
Shout
Mick
out.
Foley. But it was just spooky, and it was weird, and I liked it. But,
Yeah, within like minutes of each other.
yeah,
That is crazy.
so. But so more on that as the story develops, and lots of Christmas stuff to come. The holiday celebrations here at the OVW podcast are just getting started.
They sure are,
We're
kids.
excited about our big interview that will hit the feed soon. We're excited about some of the weird Christmas stuff, holiday themed stuff that we have planned. It's going to be, even though OVW is not on for the next couple of weeks, we are going to try our best to stay relevant in your feed. We don't want you to forget about us here in the holiday season into the new year. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of content for you guys, our dear listeners.
We have plenty of holiday goodness to talk about, and not only do we have like tons of Christmas things, Festivus is also coming up, and I've got a lot of problems with you people, and you're going to hear all about them, but we'll say that for another time because it's a little bit early for Festivus.
Yeah, the Festivus show will actually be our review of Christmas Chaos because I got a lot of grievances to air.
Oh, well, then there we go. It
Oh.
writes itself in real time.
Look out for us on YouTube, too. We'll have the link to that
Yeah,
on
this
the
is-
socials.
This is our second ever YouTube video.
Yes,
today.
if you're listening at home Everything sounds just the way it did last time you tuned in. But
hope.
if you want to go on YouTube and find us, you can actually see what we look like and then be like, ew, I'll go back to the podcast. Thank you very much.
Nah, speak for yourself, dog.
Who's taking us home this week?
That would be me.
I even washed my hair and everything.
Too bad you didn't brush your teeth. The OVW podcast, the 10th Carney Award nominated
indeed,
unofficial
indeed.
podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling, is produced by Black Light Moon Productions at Nut House Studios in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW podcast broadcast team is Jack Minox
Me.
and Brian Hines. Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi Woodard.
Malachi P.S. Woodard.
Malachi P.S. Woodard, I am sorry, I stand corrected. Executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard. Senior producer for The Blimp is Victor Anderson. After watching wrestlers on Netflix, visit ovwpodcast.com/podcasters to find all episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, rate us 5 stars, and give us a review. You can also follow us at OVW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and wherever you get all of your internet treats. This has been Brian Hines.
Holidays are hard. Take care of yourself. I'm Jack Minox.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.